Captain Jake Morrison strode across the expansive bridge of the UES Thunderbolt, the most formidable vessel Earth had ever constructed. Spanning 2 kilometers in length, its massive armored hull bristled with enough firepower to obliterate entire cities. Unlike the sleek ornamental crafts that alien species piloted, this was a warship relentless, unyielding testament to humanity's resolve. The bridge housed Earth's finest minds. Chief Engineer Danny Wells monitored the colossal fusion reactors, powerful enough to illuminate an entire planet. Weapons Officer Katie Palmer meticulously scanned her console, ensuring that the hundreds of railguns and nuclear missile silos were operational. At the navigation station, Steve Carter charted a course through unexplored star maps. For millennia, the galaxy had been dominated by 3 major powers. The Zephyrian Empire, with their plasma beam energy weapons, ruled the central systems, priding themselves on the elegance of their ships. The Hive Collective, insectoid creatures piloting organic bioships, controlled the Outer Rim. The Nexus, crystalline beings, held sway over intergalactic trade with their unmatched computational prowess. These factions dismissed Earth as insignificant, deeming humans primitive and unworthy of notice. But the Thunderbolt would soon challenge that perception. Admiral Lisa Rodriguez, stationed in Earth's command center, observed as the ship readied for its maiden mission. A veteran of the Mars colonial wars, Rodriguez had spent decades analyzing alien tech, uncovering vulnerabilities, and planning this pivotal moment. Unlike the ornate alien vessels, the Thunderbolt resembled a colossal metal wedge, designed to cut through anything in its path. Its hull, reinforced with layers of steel and tungsten, could withstand nuclear impacts. Its arsenal included railguns launching tungsten slugs at 20% of light speed, missile bays stocked with thousands of nuclear warheads, and plasma cannons. Reverse-engineered from alien designs yet enhanced with human ingenuity, Jake Morrison, handpicked to command the Thunderbolt, embodied Earth's unyielding spirit. Raised on Mars, he had grown up battling harsh environments and fierce competition. His philosophy was simple: strike with overwhelming force to deter future aggression. The crew of 800, drawn from Earth, Mars, the Moon, and asteroid colonies, shared this vision. Many were veterans of the colonial wars or solar system patrol missions. They understood the stakes of this mission. It was about securing humanity's place among the stars. Fusion reactors are at full capacity, Danny Wells reported. He had spent 5 years perfecting their design, making them more potent than anything aliens had devised. Weapons systems online, Katie Palmer added, her voice steady as she oversaw the ship's formidable arsenal. At navigation, Steve Carter confirmed Alcubierre drive ready and calibrated. This groundbreaking, faster-than-light technology, based on alien principles but refined by daring human engineers, would propel the Thunderbolt to its destination. Their mission was straightforward, yet perilous. The Thunderbolt would escort a diplomatic team to Haven's Gate, a neutral space station frequented by all major galactic species. Their ambassador, Ellen Foster, would declare Earth's emergence as a spacefaring power demanding respect. The Thunderbolt would stand as a silent yet unmistakable deterrent to any hostile response. Jake Morrison knew the risks. The aliens might attack the diplomats, attempt to seize the Thunderbolt, or preemptively strike Earth. But retreat was not an option. Humanity's survival depended on this mission, and Morrison was determined to ensure its success. Star systems held the promise of survival for Earth's expanding population. The solar system had grown crowded, and humanity desperately needed new worlds to inhabit. As the countdown reached 0, Captain Jake Morrison issued the command to activate the Alcubierre drive. The space surrounding the Thunderbolt warped and twisted as the ship created a bubble of distorted space-time. Stars elongated into streaks of light as the enormous warship surged beyond the speed of light, leaving Earth's solar system behind. The galaxy was about to learn that humans were no longer the primitive, inconsequential species of legend. Earth's first star destroyer hurtled toward the stars, bearing the dreams and ambitions of 12 billion people determined to be heard. This marked the dawn of human expansion, and nothing would ever be the same. Haven's Gate space station loomed, In the void, a massive ring spinning slowly to generate artificial gravity for the thousands who lived and worked aboard. Ships from myriad species docked daily, trading goods, exchanging knowledge, and conducting delicate negotiations away from the watchful eyes of home governments. As neutral territory, Haven's Gate ensured no single faction dominated its halls. Zephyrion. Merchants peddled radiant energy crystals in the bustling market, while hive drones clicked through shipping deals in their distinctive language. Nexus entities finalized trade contracts with flawless calculations, solving intricate problems in moments. Station Commander Velter, a tall Zephyrion, with ornate blue markings that denoted his high status, had overseen Haven's Gate for 15 years. His office was adorned with gifts from countless grateful traders and diplomats, symbols of his impartial governance. When an unfamiliar vessel requested docking clearance, his curiosity was piqued but not alarmed. It wasn't unusual for new species to appear in this sector as they developed faster than light travel. Typically, they sought to join the Galactic, fold through commerce and diplomacy. The vessel identified itself as part of the United Earth Star Command. Searching the station's database, Velter found scant records on Earth, a minor world in a distant star system. According to the outdated file, its inhabitants relied on chemical propulsion and rudimentary nuclear technology. No evidence they had ventured beyond their system. That assumption shattered when the Thunderbolt emerged from faster-than-light travel at the system's edge. Haven's Gate's sensors flared with alarms as they registered the colossal ship's energy output, detectable from millions of kilometers away. On the main screen, Velter's gaze fixed on the image of the vessel, a massive metal spear seemingly designed for unyielding destruction. Unlike the fluid, elegant designs of most galactic ships, the Thunderbolt was sharp-edged and brutally pragmatic. Weapon ports studied its surface like predatory eyes. The ship dwarfed the largest Zephyrion battleship and outmassed the Hive's colony vessels threefold. Its reinforced armor appeared capable of withstanding a supernova's fury. Years? Velter had never encountered anything remotely comparable. Ambassador Ellen Foster led the human delegation aboard Haven's Gate, a sharp-eyed woman with streaks of gray in her hair. She exuded calm authority. Her team included Dr. Ryan Mills, a linguist versed in alien communication, and Colonel Amy Shaw, a decorated veteran of the Mars colonial wars. Trade Representative Ben Garcia carried extensive data on Earth's resources and industries. The group was escorted by 6 Marines clad in powered armor that rendered them walking fortresses. Their bulky, heavily plated suits contrasted starkly with the sleek protection used by other species. The Marines carried weapons so advanced that the station's scanners failed to categorize them. The station's inhabitants reacted swiftly and with mixed emotions. Zephyrion nobles whispered about the crude appearance of human equipment, dismissing its stark functionality as lacking refinement. The hive drones, communicating through chemical cues and body language, bristled at the humans' air of readiness for conflict. The Nexus entities, meanwhile, rapidly analyzed the new arrivals, their crystalline forms glinting with intrigue. The Nexus entities calculated furiously, their crystalline minds processing thousands of scenarios regarding the impact of this new military force on galactic stability. Most projections were troubling. Species that prioritized destruction, over-exploration, or trade threatened the delicate balance of power that had preserved peace for centuries. Ambassador Foster formally requested a meeting with representatives from the major galactic factions. She intended to announce humanity's entry into the interstellar community and seek recognition as equals. Her message was respectful but resolute. Earth had achieved faster-than-light travel and planned to expand beyond its solar system, while humanity was prepared to adhere to trade laws and diplomatic protocols. It refused to be treated as inferior. The response was wary. The Zephyrions agreed to talks, but maintained a tone that suggested humans had to earn their respect. The Hive Collective sent representatives, but kept their bioships far from the Thunderbolt. The Nexus delegation participated, but continuously mapped escape routes, prepared for any sign of hostility. On the third day of negotiations, long-range sensors detected 3 incoming vessels traveling at high speed. Sleek and menacing, they bore the dark colors of the Corvani raiders. This reptilian species had a ruthless reputation as pirates, preying on weaker ships to plunder cargo. SciFi, a battle-hardened Corvani leader, commanded the lead destroyer. His scarred scales bore the marks of countless victories. For 2 decades, his crew had terrorized merchant vessels, always targeting those too weak to resist. The unusual energy readings near Haven's Gate intrigued them, chance to test this unknown species and claim its technology. The Corvani thrived on fear and domination, their plasma weaponry capable of slicing through most armor with ease. Over the years, they had destroyed hundreds of ships and enslaved thousands. When they encountered the Thunderbolt, they dispatched a curt demand: surrender immediately or face annihilation. The ultimatum, delivered in crude galactic standard through an outdated translator, was the same one they had used to subdue countless foes. On the Thunderbolt's bridge, Captain Jake Morrison studied the message with a calm intensity. Around him, his crew waited in tense silence, knowing the captain's response would determine not just their survival, but humanity's standing in the galaxy. Morrison's eyes flicked to the tactical display. The Corvani vessels loomed closer, their shapes like metallic sharks gliding through the void. Their hulls, coated in light-absorbing materials, blended seamlessly into the darkness of space, making them difficult to track. The plasma cannons, mounted along their frames, radiated a faint, ominous glow. Scythe observed the human ship from his own command deck, exuding the confidence of a predator who had never faced defeat. The Corvani's speed and devastating weaponry had vanquished every opponent they had encountered. To him, this encounter was no different, mere formality before claiming another prize. The lead Corvani ship transmitted a second message. Scythe's voice, guttural and laced with disdain, echoed through the Thunderbolt's bridge in broken galactic standard. The humans must surrender their ship and prepare for boarding. The demand was as clear as it was fine. The Corvani war chief's forked tongue twisted through the harsh syllables of galactic standard, his words like venomous hisses. He demanded the immediate surrender of the primitive humans. Their ship and its technology would be claimed, and its crew enslaved, or they would be destroyed, just as countless others had been. Captain Jake Morrison surveyed his bridge, taking in the unwavering determination etched on the faces of his crew. Danny Wells monitored the fusion reactors, their colossal power at his command. Katie Palmer's hands hovered over the weapons controls, her expression calm and poised. Steve Carter tracked the enemy ship's maneuvers with laser focus. The bridge was a picture of resolve. Morrison activated the communication link and delivered his response with an icy precision that cut through the Corvani's arrogance. "The Use Thunderbolt will not surrender," he stated. "Withdraw immediately, or face the consequences." To the Corvani, it was laughable. Their long history of conquest had followed a familiar pattern: defiant words, panic under fire, and eventual capitulation when defeat was inevitable. These humans, they thought, would prove no exception. Warwick Scythe gave the order to attack. Confident in his victory, the 3 Corvani destroyers moved into a tight formation, their plasma cannons firing simultaneously. Lances of superheated energy streaked across the void, aimed directly at the Thunderbolt. The plasma beams struck the human vessel's forward hull, dissipated harmlessly. The Thunderbolt's multi-layered armor absorbed the energy attacks with ease. Its thick steel and tungsten plating, designed to endure nuclear blasts and high-velocity impacts, rendered the Corvani's plasma weapons ineffective. Against this human engineering marvel, the aliens' vaunted firepower was as ineffective. As rain against stone, on the lead destroyer's bridge, Warwick Scythe stared at his screens in disbelief. The plasma beams' most powerful weapons had failed to even scratch the enemy ship. The crude, angular human vessel had defied every expectation. This had never happened in all his years of raiding. Morrison, unshaken, turned to Katie Palmer. "Fire everything," he commanded, his voice resolute. The Thunderbolt's retaliation was as devastating as it was swift. The railguns fired first, launching tungsten slugs at 20% of light speed. The kinetic projectiles tore through the Corvani energy shields as though they were non-existent, ripping massive holes in the sleek hulls of the pirate ships. One destroyer was instantly disabled, its engines shattered and its power systems destroyed. Emergency lights flickered aboard the stricken vessel as its crew scrambled to contain the chaos, but the Thunderbolt was far from finished. Katie Palmer activated the missile systems, unleashing a torrent of nuclear warheads. Hundreds of missiles streaked toward the remaining Corvani ships, each carrying an atomic payload capable of obliterating a city. The Corvani, accustomed to enemies using energy-based weapons, were wholly unprepared for such raw firepower. Their point defense systems managed to intercept a few missiles, but there were far too many. The first explosions erupted like miniature suns, their blinding brilliance illuminating the darkness of space. The shockwaves devastated the remaining Corvani destroyers, ripping them apart in fiery cascades of destruction. At Haven's Gate, every being turned their gaze toward the unfolding battle, the brilliance of the nuclear detonations reflected. In their wide eyes, the unrelenting fury of humanity's war machine laid bare. Commander Velter stared at his screens in awe as the Thunderbolt unleashed destruction beyond anything he had ever imagined. The explosions burned so brightly they were visible to the naked eye from millions of kilometers away.
Now the second Corvani
Destroyer disappeared in a blinding flash as 3 nuclear warheads detonated against its hull simultaneously. The once feared pirate vessel, which had terrorized merchant fleets for decades, was obliterated into plasma and scattered debris in an instant. Scythe, desperate to escape aboard his crippled flagship, ordered his crew to retreat. But the Thunderbolt's weapons were merciless. Railgun slugs smashed through his ship's armor, disabling engines and rendering weapons inoperable. A final nuclear missile struck home, engulfing the vessel in an expanding cloud of superheated gas. The Warwick's career and his life ended. In an instant, the entire battle was over in less than 10 minutes. 3 Corvani destroyers, once feared throughout the galaxy, had been annihilated by a single human warship. The Thunderbolt's armor remained unscathed, impervious to the enemy's most advanced weaponry. Across the star system, silence fell. Every ship and station had witnessed the shocking display of power, challenging their understanding of warfare. A species once dismissed as primitive and insignificant had revealed capabilities that dwarfed anything previously known. Captain Morrison gave the order to stand down from battle stations. The threat had been eliminated, and the mission could continue. Yet he knew that the galaxy's perception of humanity had been irrevocably altered in those fateful 10 minutes. On Haven's Gate, Ambassador Foster received updates on the battle. The alien dignitaries who had treated her with polite disdain now regarded her with thinly veiled fear. The balance of power had shifted dramatically, and everyone recognized the implications. Humanity's age of expansion had begun, heralded by fire, and thunder news of the Thunderbolt's victory spread faster than any ship. Within hours, every major government, military command, and trading house, from the core worlds to the outer rim, knew of the Corvani fleet's destruction. Recordings of the battle were scrutinized by millions of stunned beings, struggling to comprehend the overwhelming force they had witnessed. On Astrath Prime, the Zephyrion homeworld, High Admiral Kellanoth convened his top military advisors in the war room beneath the Crystal Palace. For over a century, the elegant Zephyrion leader had commanded fleets with unmatched precision. Yet the recordings of the Thunderbolt's onslaught left him and his officers speechless. The plasma cannons, which had secured Zephyrian dominance for millennia, were ineffective against human armor. Beams of energy that could slice through any known material ricocheted harmlessly off the Thunderbolt's hull, reflecting like light off polished glass. Worse still were the kinetic weapon's solid metal slugs fired at velocities no Zephyrion shield could withstand. Kellanoth immediately ordered the Empire's shipyards to begin developing new weaponry. The survival of the Zephyrian Empire might depend on countering this new threat. In secret, he dispatched warnings to fleet commanders throughout Zephyrion space. Avoid human ships until more was understood about their capabilities. Deep within Hive Collective territory, the Insectoid Queens convened an emergency council. There, minds linked through quantum communication processed the harrowing details of the Thunderbolt's power. The Hive, which had dominated hundreds of worlds through overwhelming numbers and perfect coordination, found themselves unsettled by this new foe. Erethic, the collective's eldest and wisest queen, analyzed the tactical data with mounting unease. The humans had employed nuclear weapons as standard combat tools in act that defied the conventions of most civilized species. Most civilizations considered nuclear weapons too destructive for regular combat, reserving them for the direst circumstances. Humanity, however, appeared to have no such qualms. The Hive redirected resources from expansion to defense, retrofitting bioships with heavier armor and more powerful weapons. The Queens realized that their swarm tactics, which overwhelmed enemies with sheer numbers, might fail against an adversary willing to use atomic fire on individual vessels. On the crystalline world of Nexus Prime, the central processing unit analyzed the battle, running millions of simulations. The Nexus entities examined human weaponry and tactical choices with meticulous precision. Their findings alarmed the galactic community. Human military doctrine, unlike that of any known species, embraced overwhelming force to achieve decisive victories. Their weapons were engineered not for deterrence or control, but for total destruction. Projections showed that human expansion, powered by such relentless strategies, would be swift and nearly unstoppable if they continued to build ships like the Thunderbolt. The Nexus began drafting contingency plans for a future in which humanity could dominate the galaxy within decades. Captain Morrison quickly became the focal point of a diplomatic firestorm. Every major galactic power sought meetings with the human delegation, each for different reasons. Some hoped to ally with this rising force, others sought non-aggression pacts, and a few began devising plans to neutralize the perceived threat before it grew beyond containment. Ambassador Foster worked tirelessly to establish formal relations. The human diplomatic team struggled to meet the flood of requests for discussions, technology exchanges, and trade agreements. No longer dismissed as primitive, humanity was now the center of interstellar attention, drawing the gaze of species that had ruled for millennia. Dr. Ryan Mills faced the daunting challenge of mastering galactic diplomatic protocols. Many alien species adhered to strict rules about war and its conduct, rules that humanity's approach overwhelming force for rapid victory violated outright. Colonel Amy Shaw reported increased military activity across the region. Alien fleets repositioned under the guise of training exercises, but were clearly preparing for possible conflict with Earth. The delicate balance of galactic power had been shattered by 10 minutes of combat, and every faction scrambled to adapt. Meanwhile, Earth ramped up its industrial might. Admiral Rodriguez authorized the construction of 20 more Star Destroyers, spurred by the Thunderbolt's success. Shipyards on Luna, Mars, and the asteroid belt operated non-stop. Converting raw materials into powerful warships, Captain Rachel Stone assumed command of the second Star Destroyer. The U.S. Lightning, as it completed its Earth's orbit trials, armed with upgraded railguns and double the nuclear missile capacity of the Thunderbolt, the Lightning represented the next stage of humanity's military evolution. Stone, a veteran of the Mars colonial wars and a trusted ally of Morrison, understood the need to project strength in a galaxy filled with potential adversaries. The Lightning's first mission was to patrol the trade routes linking Earth to its outer colonies. Pirates, once dismissive of human ships, now avoided them entirely. The galactic underworld spread the grim warning: attacking humans was a death sentence. In response, other species began adapting their military doctrines. The Zephyrians developed kinetic weapons to complement their energy cannons. The Hive collective bred new warrior forms with thicker carapaces to endure nuclear strikes. Even traditionally peaceful trading species armed their merchant fleets with heavier weaponry. Humanity's arrival had triggered an arms race, reshaping the galaxy's interstellar dynamics. Captain Morrison received new orders. The Thunderbolt would spearhead humanity's first colonization mission beyond the solar system. The goal was not merely to show humanity's strength, but to prove they were builders as well as warriors. It's capable of establishing a lasting presence among the stars. As the Thunderbolt prepared to depart Haven's Gate, every being aboard the station watched with rapt attention. The vessel, which had arrived as a curiosity, now symbolized a force capable of reshaping the galaxy's future. Departing Haven's Gate, the Thunderbolt became a symbol of a new era in galactic history. The comfortable old order was giving way to a more volatile and dangerous future. 6 months after the battle, the galaxy had transformed. Earth's star destroyer fleet had grown to 15 vessels, each a testament to humanity's newfound status as a military powerhouse. Promoted to Commodore, Jake Morrison now commanded the 1st Star Destroyer Squadron, tasked with safeguarding human territories and exploring beyond them. The Thunderbolt patrolled vital trade routes, ensuring safe passage for goods and settlers alike. New colonies were springing up across dozens of previously uninhabited worlds. Settlers, working under the watchful protection of the Star Destroyers, built homes and communities with confidence. They knew no alien force would dare challenge Earth's might as long as these formidable warships remained on guard. The Zephyrian Empire was the first to acknowledge the new reality. High Admiral Kellenoth traveled to Earth to negotiate directly with Admiral Rodriguez, the distinguished Zephyrian leader. Recognizing his empire's inability to rival human firepower, chose diplomacy over conflict. The resulting treaty established strict territorial boundaries between human and Zephyrian space. Both sides pledged to resolve disputes through negotiation rather than warfare. This diplomatic breakthrough paved the way for trade agreements. Zephyrians offered their advanced energy crystals in exchange for Earth's industrial products and raw materials, creating a mutually beneficial relationship. The Hive Collective, however, resisted change. Early border skirmishes erupted when Hive bioships encountered human patrols. Their swarming tactics, which had overwhelmed countless species, proved futile against Earth's nuclear arsenal. A single Star Destroyer could obliterate entire Hive fleets before they approached firing range, after losing 3 full swarms to devastating human firepower. Queen Zarek initiated formal talks. The Hive Collective accepted fixed borders and agreed to restrict their expansion to regions outside human interests. In return, Earth pledged not to interfere with Hive activities within their designated territories. The Nexus, ever pragmatic, adopted a cooperative approach. Calculations revealed that collaboration with humanity was more profitable than conflict. They proposed in exchange their unparalleled navigation technology for access to human industrial techniques and raw materials from Earth's burgeoning colonies. Meanwhile, Captain Patricia Hayes, commanding the newly commissioned U.S. Valiant, led patrols along the frontier. The Valiant, more advanced than even the Thunderbolt, boasted reinforced armor and enhanced weaponry capable of destroying entire space stations. Hayes, a seasoned officer trained under Morrison, understood the critical importance of projecting strength in this volatile galaxy. The frontier systems buzzed with human activity. Colony ships arrived at newly charted worlds, carrying settlers and supplies to establish permanent outposts. Mining operations extracted valuable resources from asteroid fields and barren planets, while space stations served as vital hubs for further expansion into uncharted regions. Other species gave Earth's Star Destroyers a wide berth. The angular, imposing design of human warships was now synonymous with overwhelming firepower and unyielding crews. Wise captains changed course when their sensors detected the distinct silhouette of an Earth vessel. The Corvani pirate clans, once a scourge of the trade routes, had been crushed by repeated defeats against human warships. Those foolish enough to test humanity's resolve were swiftly incinerated by nuclear fire. Survivors fled to the lawless regions beyond the galactic rim, spreading grim warnings about the invincibility of Earth's fleets. The lesson was not lost on others. Predatory species like the Vorth enslavers, who had preyed on weaker civilizations, for centuries found themselves confronted by human patrols when they attempted to raid frontier colonies. The result was always the same: the annihilation of the raiding fleet and the liberation of any captives back on Earth. Admiral Rodriguez addressed the Global Defense Council with measured pride. Humanity had achieved the unthinkable in just 2 years. Earth was now acknowledged as a major galactic power, with a voice in critical decisions and the might to defend its expanding interests. Shipyards continued to operate at full capacity, constructing ever larger and more powerful vessels. To support humanity's rapid expansion, the latest Star Destroyers surpassed even the Thunderbolt, showcasing Earth's growing industrial and technological capabilities as colonies provided a steady influx of raw materials and energy. Dr. Sandra Lee's landmark report on humanity's first contact with the galactic community drew widespread attention. Her analysis revealed that Earth's approach to interstellar relations was unlike any other species. While most civilizations relied on careful diplomacy to avoid conflict, humanity pursued peace through strength. Her report highlighted a doctrine alien to most, the belief that the best deterrent to war was unmatched power. Star Destroyers were not just military assets, they were a declaration of Earth's will to survive and thrive in the galaxy. Trade with alien civilizations ushered in a technological renaissance on Earth. Human scientists worked tirelessly to integrate Zephyrian energy systems, Nexus navigation technologies, and even Hive bioengineering into Earth's ships and weapons. Research facilities buzzed with activity as engineers applied these advances to refine Earth's Star Destroyers. Ensuring their superiority in a rapidly evolving galaxy, the galaxy's balance of power had shifted irrevocably. Once dominant species now had to consider human interests in their plans, adjusting to a new reality where Earth's growing fleet of Star Destroyers cast a long shadow over every major decision. Commodore Morrison stood on the Thunderbolt's bridge as it approached, a newly discovered star system. This mission aimed at charting potential colony worlds and securing Earth's claim. It embodied humanity's vision for its future. The crew worked with practiced precision, aware that their ship carried the authority to enforce Earth's will. Wherever it traveled, stars that once seemed unattainable were now within humanity's grasp. Children born on Earth's colonies would grow up as citizens of the galaxy, enjoying freedoms that had been hard-won by their forebears. As Morrison watched the new star loom larger on the screen, he reflected on the journey that had brought humanity to this moment. The Thunderbolt had taught the galaxy to respect human strength and fear human resolve. Yet, beyond the fear, Earth had earned something far greater, a lasting place among the galaxy's most influential powers. The age of human expansion was no longer on the horizon, it had fully arrived, reshaping the galaxy's future forever.